Milo, is that you?
There, I think I got it. Bruce?
Lionel?
Bruce?
Lionel.
Hey, you know what I did today?
What'd you do today?
You know that great conversation we had with our buddy, the mayor of Hornpain?
Yes, the mayor of Hornpain. Yes, our good friend George, who works for Canadian National out of Toronto.
Yes, George, the boy wonder, Teaspoon, Mr. Fourbanger.
Yep.
The one everybody loves to follow along on his career. I've actually enjoyed it too. And so a few days ago, or maybe a couple months ago, maybe several months ago, you and I had a little chit-chat with George and found out he was working a more regular job.
Yes.
And then we made arrangements to hopefully see him be trackside as his train went by.
Yes.
And we even knew a place not far from where we live that the train would be going by at like 25 miles an hour.
Yep.
So I went out and bought myself a new GoPro camera today because I thought I was.
Oh, what better occasion to capture George waving out the window?
Exactly, because I was thinking after when we were talking to him, if you remember, I know it was several months ago or at least several weeks ago.
I have trouble with what I have for breakfast. Yeah, we'll play along.
Yeah. So I've been really agonizing over the fact, or I had been really agonizing over the fact that as the train went by, I'd be like so anxious to get photos and video and maybe get a selfie and blah, 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 blah. I thought, I'm going to miss the whole event of him going by, at least for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, man, I got to figure something out to do. And my video camera is pretty old, and I have a GoPro 3.
Yeah.
But I bought a new GoPro 10, and it's like so much easier to use and so much improved. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to treat myself so that I can get a really good picture, really good videos of George going by. If we get, and then that's how we got the video.
So did you buy that from a local purveyor of GoPros?
Yeah, I went to the GoPro store.
All right.
You know, just down there on the corner beside Mike.
Down the corner of 5th and Main?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hey, Bernard, do you have a GoPro camera? You've got a 3D scanner. Bernard? Bernard? We can't hear Bernard. Bernard
turned off his microphone.
I think Bernard turned off his microphone. Do you have a GoPro camera, Bruce?
No, I don't, but I'm thinking of purchasing one because I've got this flight in a Lancaster bomber coming up later this year.
That's a no-brainer. You know what? That is a total no-brainer.
That's what everybody's telling me.
That is a total no-brainer because I think they go for around $400.
Yeah, I was looking at one, and so you went with the 10, did you?
I went, because I went and checked out a couple of YouTube videos, and I saw samples of the difference between the 9 and the 10, and it was like $100 more to get the 10. So I thought, you know what? Because it's George,
George is worth the extra $100.
George is worth the extra $100. You know what? You know how I lost that $100 to Hard Part?
Yes.
For him taking the picture.
Yes.
I just won't bother paying him.
Oh, there you go.
And that's where the $100 will come from.
Well, take the same amount of time to pay him as you got to get the picture. So.
Yeah, there you go. That's what it should be. Yeah, I should get to pay him by the
90 days or 120 days, like some of the suppliers do.
Yeah. All right. So, anyways, tonight this is going to be really exciting. We're talking to a guy that spends most of his waking hours trying to annoy the living crap out of me. But he's always really interesting. He's always very interesting. And so I sent a message to him there the other day, and I said, hey, you want to be on the podcast? And he said he's got nothing to talk about. And I said, yeah, I know that, but you want to be on the podcast anyways?
Right on.
So finally I talked him into it. You know, our buddy Scotty, he's got Scotty's model shop now.
Yes.
You're going to Scotland.
Scotland next year, yes.
Yeah, so maybe you'll probably meet a guy over there named Scotty.
Well, I imagine there's a few of the nickname Scotty, but
Scotty.
Yes.
Scotty. Oh, that's English.
That was my father-in-law's nickname, Scotty.
Oh, was it?
The lovely Jean's father, yes.
Oh, okay. My dad.
The name like Lachlan, which is right out of Scotland.
Oh, there you go. And my dad was born in Scotland.
There you go.
His whole family came from Scotland, and he was born. There's much confusion as to exactly where my father was born. He was either born in Glasgow, New Glasgow, on the boat, or just when they got to Canada.
Wow.
Nobody was.
They were kind of close, basically.
Yeah, somewhere in there, and it was. Of course, back in those days, in the early 1900s, paperwork wasn't really a high priority.
No.
So the paperwork was filled out in Canada, but everybody, my uncle Alec, who was the oldest, second oldest, the oldest one that was alive, used to always tell me he was born in Scotland. And then my Uncle Archie would go, no, he wasn't. He was born on the boat, because my dad was the youngest of all the kids. Scotty. All right, I wonder if Bernard.
He's saying he needs a sound check.
Okay, go ahead, Bernard. Say something. I guess we still got no sound. Bernard, wouldn't the best way to have a sound check be to say something?
I would think so. Well,
Scotty, come on in here, buddy.
Hello, all.
Hello, all. How are you?
Hey, at least he's here.
Yeah, at least Scott's here. What's new on that? What's new? Has anything exciting happened in your life?
Well, my only daughter, is within a month and a half of delivering twin girls. That's exciting.
Well, that is very exciting.
It's very exciting. It will make my wife and I first-time grandparents, and we're pretty excited. They live close, and she is getting bigger and bigger every time I see her, and it's super exciting.
So the other day when I was trying to talk you into being on the podcast, the first thing you said to me is you had nothing to tell me. Then you come on the podcast, and right out of the box, you get to tell us that your daughter's having twins.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely graduated to the age where I can't remember what I did about 2 seconds ago. So things escape me pretty easily.
Well, don't forget to send me that $200 you promised to send me.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll get right on that. Yeah. I forgot about that.
How about, does Bernard need a sound check?
He says his headphones are not working using computer audio.
Oh, now he's using computer audio. How did he? I thought I sent him another set of headphones.
Well, I don't know. We were talking to him
just
before
I sent him another. I sent him another headset. He's getting worse than Kelly. He'll have chewed through 2 headsets.
Yeah.
But he's still not talking.
Yeah, he says he's using computer audio, and we don't hear him.
Yeah. Tell him to close the program and start again. Plug in the headphones, close the program, plug in the headphones, and then start again.
So is he mad at you, Lionel?
I would imagine so.
Just doesn't want to talk.
He just doesn't want to talk. I guess this is the second headset I've sent him. So he can't say that the headset isn't working. This is a Kellyism, if I ever heard one. This is,
yes.
It's like the headset's, no, that's the second headset, and this is the first time you've used it. So no, it's not the headset. Think harder. So, all right, let's start with the obvious. You started Scotty's Model Shop. So,
yes.
Hang on. Before we go any farther, I'm supposed to properly introduce you. This is Scott Thornton, our beloved Scott Thornton, superfan number
32.
32. The guy who helped basically was the inspiration of the proto throttle that changed the face of model railroading across the planet.
Yes, it has for a lot of modelers, and we're coming up very quickly on number 1,000, Lionel. So I should have said all those years ago when you interviewed me for the first time, and you asked me how many do you think you'll sell. I should have said, at least 1,000.
Yeah, probably 2.
Yes.
As time goes by, it'll be 2,000 or 3,000. They're very popular.
They are, and it seems to be gaining. So we're very happy. Although with all this craziness going on in the world, things are electronics are hard to come by, and we're trying our best to keep everything under control. It's challenging.
I'll bet it is. It must be very, very challenging. Can you just move your microphone a little closer to your mouth, Scott, if you don't mind?
Can you hear me better now?
A little bit, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you hear me better now?
I can hear you perfectly.
Absolutely.
We can hear
Bernie.
you perfectly.
Yeah.
Wow. So I probably shouldn't have spilled the beer on the computer yesterday.
Probably not. That'll do it every time. We were going to introduce you as part of the team, Bernard.
Well, clearly, I am part of the team because I'm here now.
Okay. All right. Well,
so Bernard, did you spill good beer or cheap beer on your?
No, it was a really good beer. It was an unfortunately good beer.
So how often do you two guys know each other pretty well now, don't you?
We do.
We chat occasionally, yeah. I mean, the more I learn about you, Scott, the more I feel like we have a lot in common.
Yes, we do. We're both recovering graphic designers, and we have similar interests. And what's so funny about that?
Bruce, you know what I'm going to say now, don't you?
I have an idea.
Could you move the microphone just about a quarter of an inch away from your mouth?
Okay. I basically moved it like a 1/16 of an inch toward my mouth, so I'm moving it 1/16 of an inch away.
Move it a quarter of an inch. You probably moved.
Yeah, see what happens, Scott. When Bernie got here, you got all excited and upped your your vocal
volume.
output.
Yeah, your vocal output.
Okay, how's that? Is that better?
Yeah, that's pretty good. Move it out a little bit more.
How's that?
Perfect.
Okay, great.
Now, have you got a Sharpie?
Have you got a Sharpie? Tell you otherwise.
Have you got a Sharpie? Yeah, until we tell you otherwise. Have you got a Sharpie?
I do.
Can you take it and just outline exactly on your face where the mic is?
It's already done.
Okay.
Already done.
All right, attaboy. So let's review. One of the first ways I got to know Bernard was, Scott, through you, because you had bought his Pelicans. I had vaguely heard of him on NMRAX, and then one time you and I did a podcast, and we were very excited about his Pelicans.
Well, I was very excited about his Pelicans because I ran across his product line. I forget how I came across it. Another friend told me, and I had been looking for certain critters, if you will, and he had them on his website, and there was nothing like that on the market that I'd seen. So it was very exciting to find his site, and since that time, it's exploded into, I don't know, Bernard, quadruple what he had when he started, but maybe more. But it's he produces a great product, and he's expanded into his own office space now. So very exciting times for Miniprints.
Yes, I asked if I could go see it there the other day, but he refused.
Well, that's because I had to take my son to his horseback riding lesson, so I couldn't get out of that one. And you mentioned earlier about a GoPro, and the answer to your question is yes, I desperately want one. And it's actually my wife who is pushing me to get one because she also does horseback riding, and apparently you can mount it to your helmet and get some pretty good footage. So I think for the first time in model railroad history, I will be the beneficiary of some technology that my wife wants that I can use for rail fanning.
Technically, Bruce, did I ask Bernard if he had a GoPro?
You did?
I don't recall that.
No, I don't recall that either. I remember asking you.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't remember asking Bernard because I couldn't hear him. That would
technicality.
Yeah, I don't think I said, "Hey, Bernard, do you have a GoPro?"
Rewind the tape.
I will. You know what? And if I'm wrong, when I finally do get the opportunity, when I get permission to come, I will bring you a coffee or tea of your choice, a beverage of your choice, and a beautiful donut, muffin, whatever you would like.
I'm still waiting for the chocolate chip cookies.
And the chocolate chip cookies. Okay.
How about tomorrow?
And what if I'm right though? How is that going to work?
Well, if you didn't ask me about a GoPro,
right?
Well, then I guess I have to go out and buy one.
Scott, do you have a GoPro?
I do not.
Yeah, so maybe you guys can all borrow mine.
Yeah.
There you go. We can just do it that way. So one of the reasons, Scott, I've been wanting to get you on the podcast for a while is because you started Scotty's Model Shop.
Yes, Scotty's. Yes, I have a I have a dual name, Scott, which is Scottish, and Thornton, which is English. So there you go. Scotty's Model Shop. No, actually, my nickname through high school and college was Scotty T. So I thought, hey, it'd be good marketing, it'd be savvy to name my little online store as something that people would remember. So I just, hey, Scotty's sounds good. So I named it Scotty's Model Shop.
Okay. Yeah, so that's cool. I'm not sure I remember asking you about the name, but okay.
Well, would you like us to elaborate, or do you want dead airspace every time you ask a question?
I said, so you started Scotty's Model Shop. And
yes.
And my next question was going to be, what prompted you to start? So what is exactly Scotty's Model Shop? I've met several people that have bought your products, such as your D-Rail. Your D-Rail is very popular throughout the planet.
Yes. Go ahead, Bruce.
Oh, so indeed it is. I hear lots of guys ordering the D-Rail.
Yeah, that's been my most popular product by far. And I originally started the shop just as something to market for things that I needed on my layout. So if I was going to resin print them, I might as well just offer them for sale. And I needed D-Rails, and so I started to design a D-Rail. And once I had it completed and it printed out well and it worked, then I put it up on the shop, and that's what I've done. And I've put some things in the store that have sold, and other things that were, busts. So things have come and gone. But I've developed some other things that are selling, so it's nice.
Yeah, I see. You got your fiber rail track cleaner, additional fiber rail pads, proto throttle EMD upgrades, HO working details. Looks like some traffic cones, some bridge shoes.
Yep.
And something else.
Yeah. That's basically it. Yeah. The proto throttle knob upgrades have been another popular one for all the proto throttle users, because it replaces the reverser and the bell button and the two light switches to designs that are more accurate for an EMD cab.
Okay.
So the modelers enjoy that, so they can upgrade their stock components for a small fee and paint them up and weather them and have fun with that.
So you have like 7 products right now?
I'd have to log on to see what I've got on there.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, it comes and goes. One of my newest one is that Western Cullen Hayes 777 bell. That's kind of those haven't sold much, but those are my newest product. Those are the type of bell you see on all modern grade crossings.
Okay.
And it makes an electronic sound. You've probably heard it when you've been close to the tracks. It doesn't sound like a true bell. It sounds more electronic, but it's the quintessential sound on a lot of modern crossings. So that was fun to do.
So maybe because there's not much of a description here. It says HOWCH 777 bell. I wouldn't know what that is if you smacked me in the face with one.
Yeah, if you scroll further up, I've got a little section there that describes it more. It says it's a standard modern electronic bell found throughout the United States and elsewhere.
Are you on the same website that I'm on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. And it matches a bell that Iowa Scaled Engineering has in their Soundbite product line. So you can get the actual sounding bell to go along with the model.
Okay. It's very exciting.
So you're bundling with Iowa Scaled Engineering. Nice.
Wow, bundling with Iowa Scaled Engineering. That's cool.
Yeah.
I don't see any description. Oh, wait a minute. I see it. Hang on a minute. You got to hit the plus sign. Ah, I got it. There you go. You got to hit the description thing. You seem to me, Scott, to be one of those guys where it's kind of like, well, don't you know to hit the button? You seem to be very mysterious. As the years have gone by, you've struck me as being much more of a mysterious person than I originally thought.
Well, that's what my wife thinks too. So
that you're mysterious.
Yeah, I'm a mystery. No, I'm actually an open book.
Are you?
To be truthful, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I wear my heart on my sleeve.
Okay. And you have like some sort of like piping that goes to it, or
the old Jarvik external heart.
So what kind of 3D printer are you using?
I'm using an archaic Anycubic Photon, but I bought an upgrade for it. The Photon was one of the first ones that a lot of people were purchasing. I don't know how far back, maybe a couple years. This stuff changes so fast, as Bernard will tell you. But I bought that, and it didn't work very well because it had registration problems. But there's a fella out of England who built an upgrade kit, and I bought his upgrade kit, and it fixed that problem. And so it's worked really well for me. If you know anything about inexpensive resin printers, a lot of the inexpensive ones use LCD screens, and the LCD screens only have a shelf life. Well, the shelf life isn't that long, so I'm waiting until mine burns out. And then when it burns out, you just go buy a new machine because they're so inexpensive. It doesn't make sense not to buy a new machine. But
I've never heard that about LED screens.
LCD
screens. I've never heard that about those.
Yep, they have. Well, if you know how a resin printer works, the screen is constantly cycling on and off to build each layer.
Oh, okay.
So they really go through a lot of abuse, and over time, if they're not quality and they're not robust, which a lot of the cheap machines aren't, then the screen will eventually burn out before anything else breaks on the machine.
Is this true, Bernard?
It is, and I've replaced most of my screens over time. It's only about a $35 upgrade, so if the machine is worth saving, you can update it. But what you'll find that very quickly you'll start losing pixels. So you'll have 3D prints that'll print out, but it'll look like someone shot a bullet through them. There'll be like a gap, a hole right through it, and that'll be the dead pixels in the screen. So when that starts happening, it's time to either upgrade the screen or get a new machine.
That's interesting. I didn't know that. Did you know that, Bruce? Has the LED screen on yours, LCD screen on yours, burnt out yet, Bruce?
No, it's still sitting in the box upstairs.
Believe it or not, they actually say that the screens are consumables. So just like resin or anything else, it's something that just needs constant upgrading and replacement.
Okay, and now how consumable? Like you'd put it on? How would you cook that, on the barbecue or?
Yeah, over easy.
Okay,
mm-hmm.
Maybe a little salt and pepper.
All right,
but definitely not in the microwave.
No, boom.
Okay.
So okay, Scotty. I mean, I know your derails are wildly popular. So how many of those do you think you've sold?
Oh gosh, I've probably sold, just guesstimating, maybe 300 to 500, somewhere in there.
Holy mackerel!
Yeah.
And how many come in? Like a package?
2.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you've sold like somewhere between. You've probably sold around 200 packages of working derails. Yes,
because a lot of these modelers have big layouts, and when they order a lot. So they want to outfit all of their sidings that need a derail all at once. So that's been nice.
Well, how do you think people have found you?
You know that.
Oh, then we lost him.
Uh-oh.
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 So you're up, Bernard.
Okay. I will guess that people found him through the wonders of the internet.
The www?
The www and Facebook. I mean, Scott is quite active. He has a brilliant Facebook page. I know he's announced the shop on his Facebook page for his layout.
Right. And
so,
but I guess it's just word of mouth, something that's that popular. What do you think is your most, for you, was it word of mouth, do you think, that made your business grow so quickly?
I think it started with Facebook for sure. Then it was the NMRAX early days, the online
Right.
Because I started the company at the early days of the pandemic, so everything had pivoted to online.
Right.
So all of these online conferences and things really helped out, get the word out. And then, word of mouth for sure.
What's this pandemic you speak of?
I don't know. It's over.
Could you guys hear me?
We can now.
Okay. I don't know what happened. My internet's working. Everything's working. So it's a gremlin.
Yeah, it is a gremlin. So you've sold like 200 packages of these derails.
Yes, I was saying that these modelers who have large layouts, occasionally I'll get an order for just 2 of them, but that's pretty rare. Usually guys will order, 5 or 6 packages of them because they want to outfit all their sidings that they need derails with, and it just goes to show that there was a real need for derails. I know that what's the one company that produces a Details West had one, but it was a little bit more cumbersome, I think, to put it together. So
Okay.
mine are already put together. When you receive them, all you have to do is prime them and paint them and glue them to the track. You're ready to go.
And even our friend Scott Lister, the Duke, he has some, and he's an S-scaler, and he bought the HO ones.
Yes, yeah, he bought the Code 100 ones that I offer, and I think they work for S-scale, so that was nice.
Your website is pretty slick here. Like I just for fun, I just put in, buy a package of derails, and then I went to checkout, and boom, it seems to work very flawlessly.
Oh, well, thanks. Yeah.
And how did you do the checkout part? I mean, for a small businessman, do you have any? I don't want you to give away any of your secrets, but for a small cottage industry, how did you develop this website, and how did you develop the checkout part?
Well, the checkout thing is pretty much seamless and automatic because I just signed up for a Square account. Square is a company that I think it's associated with one of the social media companies. It's an offshoot of like Twitter or one of those companies. I can't remember for sure, but it's just a company that has templates that you can you pay a yearly subscription,
right?
And then you can use any of their templates that they offer, and then they have the ability to within the template to use different components like to place photos and place copy, and then they have an inline already built store for you. So when you set it up, you just click with a few clicks, you can connect the area that you're marketing your product with the store features. So it's all automatic.
All right. And what about, aren't both you guys familiar with website building? Bernard, weren't you familiar with that as well?
I, in a past life, designed many a website. Yes.
Sure. So both you guys had that background to help you chug along and probably make it a lot easier for you to develop these 2 websites, eh?
Well, not me. Sorry, Bernard. I'm a dinosaur when it comes to website development. I was pretty much a print designer. Bernard was into web development, but to me, it's all Greek, and so I've really had to rely on a templated service to be able to put my store together.
Okay.
And me as well. Actually, the beauty is you don't really need to know anything nowadays because between Wix, Square, WooCommerce, Weebly. I mean, there's so many off-the-shelf, out-of-the-box companies out there where you list your products and sell them to the world.
Didn't you tell me, Scott, years ago that one of the ways you got hooked up with Mike Peterson and Nathan Holmes, the guys from Iowa Scaled Engineering, who, by the way, they're located in Colorado?
Mm-hmm.
Very odd. I'm terrified that they're going to move to like Tennessee or Arkansas, and then it's going to become Colorado Scaled Engineering.
Mm-hmm. Could happen.
Always be like one state behind,
No. I think both those gentlemen are Coloradans. They're going to stay put.
Well, I'm still terrified of it.
Okay.
Sometimes people have unnecessary fears about things, and that's one of mine.
Yeah, there's therapy for that, I believe.
Yeah, there is. Oh, which reminds me. Speaking of therapy, first let me finish this question. Yeah, the subject of the night. Before, I thought that's what you did. One of the things you did for the guys at Iowa Scaled Engineering was help them with their website.
No, I helped them with their marketing.
Okay.
Michael actually built their website. Both those guys are very smart guys, and they're really good in their electrical engineering field. So they are very, very capable on many levels. But one thing they're not good at, if I can be so bold, is design. So they were producing their own marketing materials, and I reached out to them and said, basically, if you guys want some help, I would like some electronics. And they said, hey, we can supply you with electronics if you do our marketing for us. And so I said, hey, let's do it. So we bartered back and forth, and that's how we became friends.
Okay, so just before you left us there for a short period, I was about to ask you, so how did you market Scotty's Model Shop? Like, how did you get people to find out that these derails even existed? Because I know, like, our buddy, the Average Don, has them. I know Scott Lister has them. And as Bruce says, he knows several guys that have them. Like, they seem incredibly popular. So how did you market those?
Yeah, I reached out to the magazines, like Railroad Model Craftsman, and the magazines are always interested in, and Model Railroader, and they're interested in marketing new products. So reached out to those entities, and they published it, and Tony at Model Railroad News, and he was all over it. So I got in there, and that got some momentum. And then I also just posted on my Facebook groups that I'm a member of, and that got the ball rolling. And then just word of mouth. It's amazing. I think in a lot of ways similar to Miniprints, because even though Bernard's done a lot of advertising, initially, Bernard, you could speak to this, but I think there was a lot of word of mouth. I mean, things spread pretty quick. When you have a product that people really want, word can get around.
And that's really the best marketing. I mean, my happiest, proudest, best marketing, it's, when someone posts a picture of, case in point, when you posted the picture of the Pelicans and, people love them. I mean, that's the best marketing in my opinion.
So that's that's how you did it.
Right. And there was a few prominent modelers who a lot of people follow, and they bought some derails and then they posted about them. Like, I think, is it Tom Patterson? Do you know Tom's layout up in Michigan? He's got the coal hauling one. I'm trying to remember right now. It's like the I'll have to look it up, but he posted a positive thing on his Facebook page after he bought some, because he said he'd been waiting years for a good derail. And so when he finally found mine and bought them and installed them on his layout, and they worked really well for him, he was a happy guy, and he posted about it. And I think I got quite a few sales just from that, because here was a guy that was well known. So that is a real benefit.
So you're talking about the Chesapeake, Wheeling, and Erie Railroad.
Yes, I think so. Let me look him up real quick.
Yeah, you look him up real quick. Why don't you? Why did you do that? I've never heard of Tom Patterson in the Chesapeake and Wheeling Railroad. That's the thing, eh? There are so many
good modelers.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are so many people. I mean, Bernard, you must have just, it must blow your hair back to realize how many people you've connected with over the last 2 years.
What I've discovered is that this railroad model hobby thing is huge, and it's going to explode.
Yeah, I think it's going to explode, and we're all going to be covered in model railroad goo.
I couldn't agree more.
I've heard that before.
Yeah.
Oh, have you?
Isn't there an action figure that does that?
I have an action figure right here that actually speaks.
Yeah.
What a coincidence!
Let's get to the elephant in the room.
Yes.
You were speaking of therapy just a minute ago.
Yeah.
So what's the deal with this the toy that you've created? What happened?
Well, this company called Miniprints put out this awesome looking character named Mini Lionel, and I had this brainchild that, hey, I would like to do a toy, an action figure toy, with a bigger than a G scale little Lionel. So, oh, by the way, yes, it is Chesapeake, Wheeling, and Erie.
Okay.
The CWE, that's Tom's layout. It's an incredible layout. It's been in model railroad, in the MRH realm quite a bit, but he's also been in magazines, but his layout is really, really nice. There's some awesome videos that people can go and find where he has a camera on a train that peruses through his layout, and it's incredible because it's beautiful, like West Virginia coal country, and goes over some spectacular bridges. And
do you know where he lives at all?
He lives in Michigan.
Lots of people live in Michigan. Does he live in Detroit? Does he live in Grand Rapids? Does he live in the Thumb?
No, I think he's in the Upper Peninsula area.
Okay.
Like up in the very beautiful part of the state.
Okay, because some parts of Michigan aren't beautiful?
Definitely. My dad grew up in Michigan. He tells me all the time, yeah, there's some parts of Michigan that, and I don't mean to, if any Michigan, how do you say that? Michiganders are listening. I don't mean to offend, but
too late.
Yeah.
No, yeah. But it's true. The part around Rouge River and Zug Island in Detroit is not very pretty.
Right.
No.
So,
well, there's a very small segment of Michigan that's not particularly pleasing to the eye.
Yes.
I would think generally Michigan is quite pleasing to the eye, except when you're driving across Interstate 69 across the broken cement interstate when you go pum bum pum bum pum bum. That's not so much. It's not unpleasant to look at, but it's a little annoying to drive.
Have you ridden your motorcycle that way before?
I have ridden my motorcycle. I've ridden my car. I've driven my car. I've driven my truck. I've driven all sorts of things across there, and it's usually the same result. Put-em. But they do have 75-mile-an-hour speed limit, so that's a plus. Maybe the idea is you're not supposed to notice it because you're going so fast.
Can I ask you a question? This is totally. We'll get back on topic, but with motorcycle.
No, I'm afraid you can't.
Okay. Well, I asked permission, but
all right.
Okay.
Yeah, you can ask all the permission you want. Go ahead. All right. What's the question?
The question, like, you are a motorcycle aficionado, so you ride quite a bit. Do you ride up and down the coast on a regular basis? I mean, because you have a home in Florida, so do you ride the bike down there often, or
do I ride it in Florida?
No, I mean, do you ride it up and down the coast?
Not up and down the coast, because then I'd be going nowhere near my house in Canada, so it would be kind of pointless. I'd be going towards Philadelphia and Baltimore and those kinds of places, Boston. But there's I don't ride up and down the coast. Okay. I ride right up towards Pittsburgh, right through West Virginia. You don't, but remember, I remember you thought Toronto was like a 3 million miles away.
I did.
Yeah. So you go through Buffalo, which is always a pleasant journey. And then you go down to Erie, not far from our buddy Mike Hauk. And then you turn dead left and you drive down to Pittsburgh. And then from Pittsburgh, you go to Beckley, West Virginia, right in the heart of coal country. You go right through the heart of coal country in West Virginia. And then you go down towards Charlotte and Columbia, South Carolina. And eventually you make it to Interstate 95. And then I guess you're on the coast. But then that's a very small part of the journey.
You've ridden the whole route on your motorcycle.
Absolutely, yeah, several times.
That's amazing.
Not really. It's pretty easy.
Well, I've taken some tours with mine. I've got a Triumph, and the old back needs to get in better shape, because after you ride for so many hours, it's like, oh my word,
Well, riding a Harley Davidson electric glide is kind of like driving a couch.
Okay. That's nice.
It's a lot different.
Especially with a custom seat, right?
Yeah, with a very custom seat, but it's made by a company called, don't tell me, let me guess, I can't remember now. It's right on the tip of my tongue. It's Corbin. It's a Corbin seat. Yeah, which was developed by a guy he was going to school in, I'll say Cincinnati. It was mid-Ohio somewhere, and his girlfriend lived somewhere in upstate New York, and he spent a lot of hours driving back and forth, and finally he had to come up with a better seat. It's actually the same material, something to do with NASA, and to touch the seat, it feels like it's rock hard. But you can ride that seat 500-600 miles, no problem.
That's encouraging because I was looking at a Corbin upgrade. So you just convinced me to keep pursuing it. So.
I got two motorcycles and 2 Corbin seats.
Very cool.
And if you really want to get excited, you can go all the way to Corbin in California, and they will custom fit your butt right to a seat.
Custom. Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, you sit on this thing, and it shapes the size of your butt, and they build a seat right to the shape of the butt. So it's like, wow. My right hip isn't as good as it could be. So they made some adjustments to my seat so that I can ride. I can ride forever and ever on that thing.
Yeah, I was looking at an upgrade so my wife can ride on the back, but we would both have backrests, and it looks like a high quality company. So I'll have to check it out.
You don't need a backrest. You need a more highway style bike. You need a cruising bike if you want to do long distance. That's the key, period, end of sentence. You got to have a cruise. A Harley Davidson Electric Guide is a cruising bike. You sit back, the handlebars are, in a comfortable position, and you just ride along, you're just sitting there. It's just like you'd be sitting on a chair watching a TV show.
That sounds awesome.
It does. It is. It's a lot of fun.
Great.
I guess that's the show then.
Yeah, there you go.
You're waiting for the email address then?
Yeah. Let's do the email address.
Hey, we covered all the motorcycle fans within the model railroad ranks there. So.
Yeah, there's a million of them, I think. There's a lot of people that ride motorcycles.
Mm-hmm.
So what possessed you to make this, what do you call it? Do you call it an action figure? What do you call it?
Yes, it's the Evil Overlord talking action figure. And I thought, wouldn't it be fun as a fun project to put together a design that had your figure as the prominent feature and then make it talking.
Right.
And to apply a bunch of the AML fun little aspects onto the box. And so I reached out. There was a whole group that was involved with this. It was myself, Bernard, Michael Peterson. He supplied the sound module. JT Burke with his scale sound speakers, and Bill Brillinger supplied the decals. So they all supplied these things. Bernard was the only one who required payment. I
don't think I asked for payment.
No. I think
you offered.
It was he required payment, but he put the screw. he put the screws.
In this corner, weighing in, Scotty Williams, Alejandro.
He said, "I'm not giving these giant Lionels away for free. I got to have payment." So he said, "You're gonna have to make a donation to the hospital,
the charity." There you go.
Yes. I was getting that, Bernard. I was just
okay.
I was just soaking it in a little humor here, but so Bernard was the hard nose that wanted payment, and it all went to your cause, Lionel. But I got my 2 giant Lionel figures.
How big are they?
They are, they must be
5.5, 6 inches, I think.
Yeah, I think they're 6 inches tall, and they're giant, And I painted them up, and then I developed some. The inside of the box has a 3D printed superstructure that holds the electronics and a background image of Lionel's layout. I went back into the archives and found a photo from one of his model railroad articles, and I printed it out in full color. And so behind the Lionel figure is one of his locomotives from the ANLS. And then I took, I lifted a bunch of his key phrases from the podcast and edited them, and it sounds really, really good. Now, I did all this as just to have fun and make a spoof of the program, but also to make it for you, Lionel. This is a gift to you. I don't want to send it through the mail because I don't want to risk it being damaged.
Okay.
So the next time that we're together at some show, which will happen sometime in the future.
Yeah, I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Well, you know, whenever it happens.
So is that what I have to do to avoid it? Is to not meet you at a show?
No, I mean, if you want me to send it, I'll send it to you. Oh, you mean to avoid it? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
well, you're gonna love this thing.
Oh, yeah.
I think, or you auction it. Let's auction it off.
I already know what I'm going to do. I had a great idea. I had an idea, and I already know what I'm going to do with it. I've absolutely decided 100% what I'm doing with it.
Oh no, what?
I'm going to give it to my psychiatrist.
Oh. There you go. Well, my favorite phrase that I put on, there's 6 or 7 different phrases that when you press, there's a momentary button on the panel that has the Bruce on there, on Bruce's panel, because we have the agitated mailboy on there. You press the momentary button and then it randomly plays the sounds, and one of them is where you go, he goes, I'm going to get this wrong now. It's the one where you talk about you're dumber than a stick of butter.
Right.
Every time I hear that, I crack up. And it's got you saying, you're not hanging around with that Strang boy, are you?
Right.
And several others. And you talk about a hot dog and ketchup on there. And I have the subway chime. So it goes boing, 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 and
right.
So it's a fun little thing. The graphics turned out really, really well, and I had to be extremely careful putting the box together. But if I do say so myself, it looks extremely realistic. It looks just like something you'd see on the store shelf.
It's a piece of art, Scott. I mean, it's a one-of-one original piece of art.
Oh, I'll give you that. It's it'll blow your
piece,
sock.
Right? Yeah,
it's a piece. No, it's there's
the pictures. It's amazing, but
there's no doubt that it's.
And now knowing how big it is, and go, wow.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that you're incredibly talented. I just don't understand why.
why I did it?
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Was it really spicy hot chili that got to you in the middle of the night?
Yeah, exactly. No. I thought. Well, here's the thing.
Before you go on, move your microphone just a little bit out again.
Okay, I bumped it. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Sorry about that. No, the show is so interesting and unique, and I thought, wouldn't it be fun to take a lot of the elements of the show that are talked about, over the years repeatedly, things like the moldy shrimp and Dairy Queen and the cheese balls and the like on the cover, I have your quote about how I'm an amazingly handsome man for my age, and the evil overlord. That's the name of the toy. It's just all these different things that are so fun and unique to the show. And of course, we have the moderately agitated mailboy on there, looking agitated. And Bruce was very gracious I contacted him and said, "Could you take a shot of your face, looking agitated?" So he shot it immediately and sent it to me, and it was perfect.
Yeah, and that's not hard for Bruce.
Yeah. So we've got Bruce looking agitated, and then I put the quote on there with Bruce getting a little bit too agitated, where he actually has an expletive on there, but it's not a real expletive. It's just the characters that in.
I would only say something like G. Willikers, gosh darn. So
yeah, yes, exactly. So, yeah. But I have Bruce on there saying, "Happy rails to you, you blankety blank blank." So that was fun.
And you get a dime on there, and it's for ages 35 and up.
35 and there's a warning, a big warning there.
Yeah, it says moderately adequate for 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
It says marginally adequate. 6 out of 10 5-year-olds train homies will love it.
Yeah, train homies will love it. And then on the back, we've got a UPC with the talking little Lionel, and then it has the U.S. 1995, but then it's got Canada, which Canada's known for having a little bit more higher fees. It's a cheap $695.95 for the Canada version. So
see, the only thing I can see missing is you didn't put on there for anybody in California. It's going to kill you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I assume that notice is in the box.
Yeah, but we got Fred the fighting sock on the back where he's claiming Argyle rules, and
it's right. Where was I saw 4 pictures of it before? Now I'm only seeing 1. Was it on the post on fans that you to put all 4 pictures in?
There's a post on the fans of Modeler the Facebook Life page. Yeah,
right.
yeah, it's on there.
Okay, well. It certainly is spectacular. There's absolutely no doubt about that. I mean, it's incredibly talented. I mean, nobody will argue with the fact that you're a very, very talented artist. As I've said many, many times, I believe. How long did it take you to do it?
Oh, it took quite a while because I worked on it just at my leisure, and I had, with anything that's a custom one-off, there was some frustrations. I had to print the 3D prints that make up the inside of it. They're so large that they didn't print very well, so I had to redesign them and get it to all work. And then I had to assemble and test the electronics and editing the sounds. And the only sound I wanted to find was the one where you talk about that I didn't find was the one where you're talking about how handsome you are for your age. I wanted to get that on there, so. But I couldn't find it. But it's on the front of the box, so it's all good.
It's all good.
But it's just a neat little gift for you, Lionel, to have fun and to show appreciation, and just something truly unique that you could put on your shelf in your office or give it to your therapist, whatever.
I don't call her a therapist. I call her a psychiatrist or
your psychiatrist. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. This would be perfect for her. I'll be saying, I'm going to wrap it up in gift paper and say, I got something for you. Might explain some of the things you've been asking me about. Because I mean, really, what do you say to it when you look at it?
That's right. Yeah, and I had fun painting the figure and decaling it, and yeah, it was just a fun little project to do for AML.
How much would it cost me to get one of those that size, Bernard? How long did it take you, Bernard, to print it?
That was a very long print. I think that was probably a 6 or 7 hour print.
Right.
Wow. And just to reiterate, Scott did make a lovely donation to the cause, so that went to the money we raised towards Princess Margaret, to your charity.
Sure. I'm sure.
And it was fun. It was really fun it is the single largest non-prototypical, non-1-to-1 scale Lionel in the world. So there is, other than you at 1-to-1, that is the largest, and I guess there are only 2 of them in existence.
Yeah.
I've got 2. I wanted 2 of them because I wanted my own mini Lionel, but I've got a giant Lionel.
You got the Maxi Lionel.
I got the Maxi Lionel. Yes, I do.
Yeah, the Maxi Lionel.
I like on the front of the box. Good Lord, it talks.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Does it work on a battery or something?
Yeah, it works on a 9-volt battery.
Okay,
so the beauty of this, I mean, from my point of view, the beauty of this is Scott, that you've done it so well that if you were to punk people and actually put it on a store shelf, in a toy store, it would not look out of place. I mean, it looks like you could it looks real. It looks like a real
legit.
toy.
It's totally legit.
Totally legit.
Totally legit. Absolutely.
Yeah, we wanted to legitimize Lionel, for all eternity. So there he is.
Are you really sure you wanted to do that?
Yeah, well, your psychiatrist will love it.
Oh man.
As soon as she hits the button and it talks and it says,
So is the battery able to be replaced?
Yes.
You have to open the box somehow, or
you just open the lid and you reach down and I put it on a longer wire tether. So you just lift it out and pop off the 9-volt, put a new one in, and pop it back down in there.
So you can listen to those golden sounds over and 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 over.
Or somebody might listen to them all long enough to get incredibly frustrated and angry and smash it. So you better be careful.
So. I don't think anybody would do that.
No.
No, it's all good.
I'm always explaining to her about the podcast and these people that love the podcast. And I say, the same things you don't like about me are the things that these people seem to love. So,
so really, this is vindication.
It could be. She's listened to the pod. She's actually listened to it a couple of times.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, that's what I said. Oh, yeah.
She's still shaking her head.
Well, and the crazy part of it is, as I've said on the podcast before, but not in maybe to this degree, is I never had a psychiatrist in my life before. And I had no intention of having a psychiatrist until I was diagnosed with cancer and I became a lab rat. And this stuff, the doctor was terrified yeah, that's how I ended up with this psychiatrist. And it's a regular it's gone on and on and on. And she's just like, I guess I'm not the normal type of person that comes in or something. I don't know. But I sure do love torturing her to death. I
do bet that you are the only client of hers that has an action figure.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's, yeah, that'll be I can hardly wait to give it to her, actually. I thought of that the other day while I was driving along, and I thought this would be perfect for her. This will be absolutely perfect. So you'll have to make a couple more.
Yeah, the first one was Labor of Love. I don't know if I could make another one.
But... Well, you made two, didn't you?
No, I have a second.
Oh, I see.
Giant Lionel that I have yet to determine what I'm going to do with him, but I painted him up the same time as I painted up the one for the box. But
so did your wife happen to stop by while you were painting it and kind of go, what are you doing?
Oh yeah, of course I showed her, and she thought she doesn't understand the show, so she's like, oh yeah, that's
there you go.
She's like, well, that's
right
fun,
up the Gerard diary.
Yeah, well, yeah, but is there anybody that does?
Yeah,
I don't.
What's that green stuff on the shrimp? I had to explain all that to her, and
yeah. Well, if you find somebody that does understand the show, please get them to call me or contact me somehow, because then they could explain it to me.
And for on the back cover with the dialogue the copy that's on the back with your signature at the bottom is a conglomeration of a bunch of different narratives that you've written for different podcasts. So it's just this run-on sentence of.
So pull up your favorite easy chair, grab a big bowl of dried foliage clusters, a steaming hot mug of scenic cement, that old chair with one leg missing, a big bowl of shredded stadium hot dog wrappers, a tall, cool glass of your favorite flat lager. Sit back in your favorite chair with a big bowl of shredded videotape, a steaming hot mug of standing pond water. Grab yourself a big bowl of shredded operating rules, a steaming hot mug of melted axle grease. And I wrote all that. Wow.
Yeah, as soon as your psychiatrist reads that, as soon as she reads that, she's going to go, this man needs to be committed immediately.
Dear. This might be the thing that puts it over the edge.
Yeah, I think so.
But you know what? Thanks to the AML and people like Bernard and Jason Schron and Tim Warris, who's been our biggest donator, and Jim Scores from NCE, we've raised $100,000 for that hospital.
That's amazing.
Fantastic.
Sure, yeah, and Michael Peterson and Michael and Nathan Holmes for auctioning off, and I met Ross Danto, who bought both of those proto throttles that you guys auctioned off.
That's neat.
It sure is.
Yep.
How many have you sold many Argyles for Fred the Socks, Bernard?
I have. Yeah, they were very popular.
Good.
Really?
Last month, I'd have to look it up, but I'd say at least 50 of them.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah,
50,
I would.
50 Freds out the door, huh?
Wow.
Well, I mean, I think they become the foil, the protagonist to the little Lionel. So you've got.
Now, here's a question: how big is the G scale, Fred?
Oh, big. Yeah.
Oh,
well,
big?
Fred stands, I believe, 4 feet 9 inches.
Yep.
I believe was the official designation that came in the package of specifications.
I think that conversation went something like this. I said, "Hey, can you do Fred the Sock?" Blah blah blah. And then you said, "Well, sure, but we have no idea how tall to make him." And I said, "Yeah, he's exactly a foot shorter than me."
There you go.
Which you didn't seem to know. So then I had to explain that to you.
Oh, I have you scaled, so yeah. So he's proportionately accurate. So I guess whatever a G scale 4 foot 9 inches would be, that is Fred.
And we're
all about the accuracy.
So
of course, sure.
Why is little Lionel and Fred the Sock listed under oddities?
Where else would you put him?
I think that's
exactly.
That's deep over the center field. It's another Lincoln homer.
I mean, asked and answered. That's next question.
Well, okay. Where are you gonna put Bruce, the moderately agitated mailboy?
Well, I mean, actually, you do fall into multiple categories.
You'd have to be under oddities for sure.
Yeah.
I think you're cross-referenced, though. I think you actually appear in multiple categories.
Oh, do I?
Yeah, I think you're people or figures as well as.
Oh, okay.
So it's not an either-or. You can be both.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's for ease of searching. We want people to find you.
Are you excited about 3D scanning Bruce, the moderately agitated mailboy?
Very excited. I did my first 3D scan the other day in my new space, and it is my employee number 1. So we're all set up and ready to go. We've got a big green X marks the spot, and we've proven that it works, and we're all set up to start capturing images.
And you've got an employee already?
I do.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah. Go ahead.
It's a he. Wow.
It is a he. Yeah. He is part-time at this point, but the part-time has become about 24 hours a week. So it's quite a bit of part-time. And it's going along very well. And he has made his appearance. He is the second figure. You were the first, of course.
Right.
He's the second figure to be 3D scanned and available as a mini print.
And what does he do? What is he, like Bernard toy or something?
No, he is warming his hands on a fire burn barrel. So there is a barrel, like a 55-gallon oil barrel with a flickering flame in it, and he is the figure standing in front of it with his hands out warming them.
And is he under oddities?
Good question. I don't know where I listed him, but
yeah, I bet you he's not under oddities.
Well, I can tell you in a minute. I think he's under mini lights.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, you have a special position under oddities. Not many people make it to oddities.
So Scott, are you going to be getting your own space and an employee?
No. I don't have near the inventory that Bernard has. He's a creative juggernaut, and I just do things for the layout. And if they seem like they might be of interest to other modelers, I put them out there. And if they fall flat, I take them off.
So, and your other thing that you do is this track cleaning thing.
Yes, that's my fiber rail. It's I
don't understand it.
Well, what it is it's a little 3D printed 2-piece device, very simple, that friction fits a microfiber sheet into it, and then it extends, the microfiber sheet extends out from the bottom of the device, and then you can rub it across the rails, and it picks up dirt and oxidation extremely well. And I discovered this by chance. I was looking for a better way to clean my resin vat, actually, and I was reading on a forum that you could buy these microfiber sheets. They're 12 by 12 sheets that you can buy in packs. And so I bought a pack, and I was using them, and they didn't work that well, actually, with the resin printing. But my wife and I, like a lot of households, have microfiber cloths that we use to clean around the house. So I knew that microfiber picks up dirt really well. And I thought, I wonder how this would work on the rail. And so I ran it across the rail. And you know how you can just take your finger and run it across the top of a rail, and it'll pick up a good portion of the dirt and oxidation on the top of the rail? Well, this was similar. I ran it across and it picked it all up. And then afterwards, I checked the top of the rail and it was completely clean. And I thought, this is pretty darn slick, because there's no chemical, there's no abrasion. Those microfibers just picked it up. And so I thought, well, I'm going to develop my own little device. So I just designed something in my CAD program. And then it worked so well, I thought, well, I'll see if anybody else wants to use it. So that's why it came into existence.
Additional fiber sheets. Says insert says 00, but then below it says 350, quantity of 30 sheets. Okay. All right. So then do you have to cut these up, or do they come in this size?
I have to cut them up. Yeah, they come in 12 by 12 sheets. And
okay.
What I charge a customer for the 30 additional sheets is basically just the little bit of time I have to take to
sure.
cut them to size. So really, it's just selling the fiber rail, which is more of a profit center, I guess, if you could.
Okay, I got a question for you, Bernard, and you, Scott. I'm interested in your opinion, because you've been selling stuff in model railroad stuff. I got a question for you, Bernard.
Okay.
I'm not necessarily expecting you to give me the right answer or the answer to answer all questions, but I find in model railroading specifically, actually, that the retailers are constantly apologizing for the price. Why is that? Like, I find with everything, like I'll be interviewing pretty much anybody from scaled trains. Not so much with you, Bernard. I feel like you understand the quality, although we've had that discussion somewhat. But I find with a lot of model railroad retailers, they're constantly apologizing for the price of their product.
Interesting. I would defend the price. I would explain the price, but I don't think I would apologize for it, because I think, and Scott will probably.
Well, because Scott kind of said it.
I hope he'll agree.
Scott kind of said it there, because I said, "Oh, what do you cut the sheets up?" And then he started to say, "Well, the price is for what I have to do," and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And I don't think General Motors doesn't apologize for the cost of a Buick.
I think a lot of people probably don't recognize how incredibly labor intensive what Scott and I are doing is. I mean, they might assume that we've got big machines that are manufactured offshore, and you press a button and the stuff spits out. But I'm sure that Scott's operation, much like mine, is very much a laborious labor of love. So it costs what it costs.
Well, exactly. I mean, I've had this. I'll talk to Shane Wilson about it, or he'll start sort of start apologizing for the. I know locomotives are expensive, but by the time locomotive manufacturers, are constantly will say, well, by the time you figure out the cost of molds and getting them designed and this and that, and I'm thinking, it seems to be a thing in model railroading where the manufacturers are constantly trying to justify what they do. And, it's an age-old thing where they'll say, locomotives now cost $350. Well, try buying a new driver to go golfing with.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've seen in I will be 2 years old in April. So this will be,
Now, see, you strike me as a man that's easily in his 50s. And now he's gone.
Oh, jeez, we're having fun. But, on the line of your comment, unfortunately, a lot of model railroaders are stuck back in the day when you could buy a Athearn Blue Box locomotive for $10, and they figure, oh my, you're $300, and that's what you hear. $300 back in the day, you could get an Athearn for blah 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 blah. Well, it's not back in the day anymore, and what you're getting today is light years far away from what the Athearn Blue Boxes were. Technology's there, and To me, if you got a quality product, you charge a reasonable price for it, people are going to buy it. And look how many people are buying these things.
Well,
look how many people are snapping up Rapido boxcars at, $100 a pop, $80 a pop, whatever they are, things like that. There's obviously a demand out there for quality products at a reasonable price, and people think the price is really. If they don't, they won't buy it. They'll look somewhere else. But there's enough market out there for some of these that obviously it's there, and in some cases, I think some of these guys are underpriced. But it's there's no need to apologize.
Yeah, I mean, you go to like I say, a locomotive costs, I don't know, even with tax, some places $400. You try going to a Toronto Maple Leaf game for under $400. Good luck. Yeah,
especially if you have a beer.
And that'll last all of 3 hours.
Yeah.
You try going to any professional sports game, whether it be the Toronto Maple Leafs or the Sacramento Kings or whatever, the Dallas Mavericks or wherever. It's going to cost you a chunk of change.
Yeah. Well, it comes down to the case of thinking you make a decision, you're going to spend your dollars how you see fit to get enjoyment for yourself out of them. And if you want to spend, $322 manufacturer suggested retail price on a DCC sound equipped locomotive, and you're going to enjoy it, and then maybe send it off to Rob Arsenault and spend another $100 or so dollars for weathering. Who cares? Are you hurting anybody? No. Are you getting satisfaction out of it? Absolutely. So no need to apologize.
Oh. Hello, everyone.
Oh, hi,
he's
Bernard.
back.
Hey, what's going on?
Hello, model.
I thought I'd pop by. See what's happening.
Yeah, we're talking about Prince and stuff, and then decided to get into baseball.
Right, excellent. The price of baseball nowadays.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I was saying. You try to go into any major sporting event. I mean, I took a few years ago. I took my son to a Rolling Stones concert. I mean, we were sitting in, near the nosebleed section, and I mean, I bet you we spent $500-600. Rolling Stone tickets from not scalped, just regular tickets. They're to get anywhere near the stage, you're talking $1,000. So I don't understand why model railroad manufacturers have that, and the other side of the coin is why the consumer thinks it should be dirt cheap.
Well, I certainly don't think that Scott or I are getting rich doing what we do. I mean, most people I talk to, small manufacturers, we're doing this because it's fun. It's a labor of love, creative.
Oh, come on. You couldn't even be in your... Are you still there? Did he leave again?
I'm still here, so
is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Yeah, I don't know. You be the judge. No, I think I wasn't. If I came off as apologizing, I didn't mean it to be an apology. I was just saying that just part of that fiber rail was
I did
extra sheets.
Yeah, I wasn't pointing out that you were apologizing. I'm just fascinated by how many times I'll talk to a model railroad manufacturer and they end up almost invariably trying to defend the cost because of this or that or the next thing. And I think it's just a natural reaction in this today's world. And it's unfortunate because stuff, like I said, you think a model railroad locomotive of today's a $400 locomotive I got Cato locomotives that I bought 20 years ago that still run as good as the day I bought them. So these locomotives that you buy today will run for years and years and years. You try buying a new a driver for your set of golf clubs, and see how much that costs you.
I just did last summer, so I know all about that. Yeah.
And was your golf pro apologizing to you for the price of them?
Well, I didn't go through a golf pro. I bought them direct, but they still cost me a pretty penny. But I think you bring up a good point, though, Lionel. I think since we're a small fraternity, if you will, I mean, there's a lot of model railroaders out there, but it's not like some markets where it's huge. A lot of these manufacturers want to have close face-to-face interactions with their customers, and they want to have good reputations, good reactions. They don't want to be thought of as, how would you describe it? Just cold and calculating with their products or whatever. So there's a tendency to maybe not apologize, but try and explain things, it might come off as apologizing. But
well, I had that conversation with Shane Wilson when he was starting his road trip thing, and he was concerned that his truck and his RV would look too show-offy. And I said to him, this is just what happens when a particular industry starts to get bigger and bigger. The bigger companies, they have trucks and they have stadiums and they sponsor this and they sponsor that. And I think people are going to have to get used to the fact that this hobby is going to grow. It's going to explode, and we're all going to be covered in model railroad goo. And things cost. I don't know. I thought it was a good conversation to have with you, anyways.
No, I think so. And for me, I don't have any problem spending quite a bit of money on my hobby because it brings me a lot of satisfaction, a lot of joy, and I'm passionate about it. So when I want something, I'll just go buy it, and I'll pay, especially the smaller companies, I'll pay them I do it for both, the bigger or smaller. I'll just pay whatever they're asking. Because I get satisfaction out of supporting them too. So it's a win-win for me as far as I'm concerned.
All right. I got two other questions. Were you going to say something, Bruce?
Well, no, I was just saying, whenever I go in a hobby shop, I don't haggle. The only time I've haggled over price in a hobby shop was years ago when the hobby shop, he had a set of train miniatures, Great Northern Pacific boxcars. I think a set of 6. And they've been sitting in this shop for years. And I was talking to him one day. He says, "Yeah, those are nice, but geez, he said, well, give me an offer." So I offered whatever, and he said, "I'll take that." I said, "Oh, okay." So, but I won't haggle. Having come from a business background, I know that you're not rolling in dough in the model railroad industry, and if unless you're making some sort of profit, you're going to be gone.
But that would be
you should never apologize for having to make a profit.
But that would be part of my argument. I think what's wrong with a successful model railroad manufacturer rolling in dough? That's what business is all about. And the more successful model railroading becomes, the more opportunity there will be for people to make money. And if you want to do it yourself, you can, but most likely you can't. So, I mean, look at the Scotty's model shop. I mean, I can't imagine that he's probably pulling in $300,000-$400,000 a year doing this.
Oh, I would think easy, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm ready to retire off this. So.
Exactly. I got 2 questions. I got 2 more questions. I got lots and lots of questions for you. How do you think?
I have a question also. If you don't have the same one, so go ahead.
Well, how do you think this is going so far, Scott?
The podcast?
Yeah.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, it's just some good friends having a good conversation, and the whole AML nation can get in on it. So
why were you giving me such a hard time when I said, "Hey, let's get you on the podcast"?
I don't know. I guess I just
he's probably too busy making the evil overlord.
Yeah. Probably. Probably too busy raking in the hundreds of thousands of dollars he does from selling these track cleaners.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got. Yeah, it is nice though. I appreciate every person who logs in and purchases something. It is enjoyable.
It's very enjoyable. It's a great way for you. I bet you've made some contacts and acquaintances through it too.
I have. Yeah, just expanding the friend realm. It's good.
Go ahead, Bruce. You go with a question.
Yes, just recently. Sorry, I was napping there. No, I was going to ask Scott. In the last couple issues of Railroad Model Craftsman, he's debuted a new series on his layout, and I hope that he can talk to us a bit about that.
Oh yeah, I want to talk to him about that too. That's another thing I got written down here. Is he was on the cover for this is the conversation I had with him, Bruce. Hey, let's get you on the podcast. Oh, I don't think I have anything to say.
Uh-huh.
And then he came up with an idea for the podcast where we were going to get in a crew of people and discuss life. And I'm thinking, Scott, you're interesting. You've been on the cover. You've been in. So then I gave him a list of like 10 things. I said, how about that? We can start with that. And one of them was the fact that his magazine or his layout's been on the cover of Railroad Model Craftsman.
Yes. Well, maybe I just I don't know.
Was that your question, Bruce? Was that your question?
Yeah, because it's a new series that.
It's a series. I didn't realize
it's a series. It's not just a one-time shot on the cover. It's
you got a
series,
series in the magazine, and you think you got nothing to talk about? How do you write a magazine article if you've got nothing to talk about?
I guess I have something to talk about.
I guess so.
I don't know. It's just my Midwestern approach,
Yeah, or maybe you just maybe I was been right from the first day I really met you, and you crashed into the AML banquet. You're just a pain in the butt.
Yeah. Yep. I did crash into the AML banquet right when your food was coming out too.
Yeah.
So you're like, get rid of this bozo because I got to eat my meal while it's hot. No, that was all fun.
It was.
Yeah, this new series is pretty exciting. I pitched this to Otto because I really like what Otto and his crew are doing at Railroad Model Craftsman. I really like the magazine, and of course I subscribe and I support them. And I thought that my small branch line layout, the Milan Branch, would be a good subject to write a series on because I'm at a stage where I've got a lot of scenes to build and they're going to be interesting, I believe. So I wrote up an outline and I presented that to Otto and we talked back and forth and then he bought into it. And so he decided that the January issue of 2022 would be the feature introducing the series. And then every other month for approximately 2 years.
2 years?
So 12 installments, since, bi-monthly. I'm going to basically write about my entire layout build. So when the series is over, the layout will be completed. And it's called Branch Line on a Shelf. And because I have a 40 linear shelf layout, a small layout.
40 linear feet, you mean?
40 linear feet. Yes, thanks. And I've got everything mapped out for a lot of diversity. And I'm trying to build this layout for what I consider museum quality. I mean, that's my goal. I want this layout to be as detailed and as spectacular as it can be. So that's what I'm going to attempt to do with the layout. And yeah, it's going to be fun. We're going to cover things like Otto wanted me to back up in time and describe how I built the benchwork and some of the other, like the backdrop, the benchwork, some of the sound components I put into it, my lighting, my special lighting features that I have incorporated in currently, and then go from there for each individual scene as we get into the current things that are going on in the layout. Like I'm going to talk about a interstate overpass that has ambient sound. That'll be in there. And how to build a cornfield. I'm going to use bush corn. Let's see what else. Going to build a small aggregate dealer. That'll be fun. So just a wide variety of different things that I think the modeling community hopefully will find very interesting, but all in the context of a shelf built layout. So
it was originally on the cover of the January issue of Railroad Model Craftsman, January 2022.
Correct.
That's a beautiful shot. That's a beautiful shot of that.
It is.
Switcher coming across that bridge there. Yep,
that's the SW 1200 number 250. That was the locomotive that ran the branch for 10 years. And I'm a prototype modeler, so I'm modeling in the year 2003 in the summer. And that is the main locomotive. And when the 250 isn't running, there's going to be two GP10s. I'm a huge fan of GP10s, and those units actually ran on the branch during those years. So but the branch is very diverse. That's what I think the readers will find interesting. It's a 12-mile branch of the Iowa Interstate, but it services a huge variety of different industries. Everything from a scrap dealer to an aggregate company, chemical, food, steel, just this huge variety. So there's all these different car types that will show up on the layout.
Yeah, which is perfect. You can't do anything on a shelf. What are you, crazy? No, you've picked a prototype that's got lots of operating potential.
Exactly, and to go along with that, Bruce, it's a laid back type of operation, which a lot of modelers are starting to gravitate toward. Everything operates within yard limits on this branch line and on a lot of branch lines. So there's no signals. There's just a switch list. There's not a lot of paperwork, not a lot of communication. It's just the pure joy of running the train, switching with the switch list, having fun that way. And the layout has 3 different short staging extensions that add to the operating potential. So I'll be talking about that as well in the series. So, and of course it's all run with the proto throttle. So everything's slow.
Oh, really? Who would have thought?
Yeah. Proto throttle with Sargent couplers and overweighted cars.
Nice.
So so not only do I want the overall look of the layout to be museum quality, but the way the layout operates has to be just as good as how it looks. So
you'll be looking at things like if an industry or a siding's protected by derail, you got to stop, throw the derail, open and unlock and open gates and all that kind of stuff, right?
Exactly. In fact, I'm going even further than that. I'm incorporating what I call a riding conductor. Just like the gamers out there use little figurines for play value in their fantasy games that they play, I'm going to have an actual conductor that operates on the ground, on the cars. So, a lot of model railroaders simulate a conductor by just time value. They'll say, okay, the conductor's at the switch, throwing the switch, so we're going to wait 5 seconds or whatever. I'm going to actually incorporate a little figure of a conductor that using micro neodymium magnets that will connect to the cars and to the ground. So you have to keep track of where your conductor is. You can't just, switch without him being where he's supposed to be. So that'll add a lot of play value to the layout.
Yeah. Are you going to look at something? I remember seeing Trevor Marshall on his S-scale layout. He had, I forget what skill, a brake wheel and sort of air hoses that you had to couple and uncouple to simulate making a joint, and also locks on switches. You're going to go that far?
I've got G-scale switch stands that are already in place on the layout, so the operators have to. That's a neat tactile function of the layout. Like when they switch a turnout, they actually physically have to switch the switch stand. And but in addition to that, I'm working on another product with Iowa Scaled Engineering that's going to. I don't want to give away too much information now, but we're in the development stage of a product that's going to work in tandem with the proto throttle. That's going to incorporate a lot of those different elements, operating elements like setting brakes, the coupler crash, the hose release, a lot of those like releasing air, setting air, that sort of thing is going to be incorporated into the operating scheme. So that's an exciting thing in the near future.
Yeah, wow. In the March issue of Railroad Monocraftsman, you received a very complimentary letter about your first article in the January issue.
I did, from a fellow named Bruce. It was very nice. Thank you, Bruce.
You're wrong. I saw this was coming. I go, this is going to be good. And I read the first one. It's just absolutely outstanding. I was reading the second one today, actually, and this is a great series. It's going to open the eyes of a lot of people to what you can do with a shelf layout.
Well, I think a lot of people have shelf layouts, Bruce. I don't.
Yes. Well, if you look at a couple of Facebook groups, there's a lot of them out there. Yes.
Yeah, I don't think it's as uncommon. There's no need to just try to calm down. So, what did you do in the March issue? What was your article about in the March issue?
Oh, what was the March issue?
Bench work.
Oh, bench work. Yes, bench
and
work.
handling track.
Yes, handling track and
and where'd that voice come from?
Yeah, it's the voice from above.
The ghost of Bernard.
Yes.
What happened to your headset, Bernard?
You know what? Yeah, I don't know. It's time to switch manufacturers, or I'm having no luck with them, or I'm going to order a third one. They just don't seem to work. It must be my biochemistry or my magnetism.
Yeah,
Yes.
like this. You're getting worse than Kelly. You've chewed through two. This one you'd never even used.
I tell you, it's maybe I crazy glued the microphone shut or something.
Okay. and now you're just on your computer.
Does it sound like I'm on my computer?
No, it sounds perfect. That's how I could tell you sounded like you were on your computer.
Okay, well, I'm on my computer.
Sounds good.
You know, nothing sometimes beats a good old MacBook Pro microphone.
Everything beats a good old MacBook Pro microphone. When you are on the modeler's life, I've become a guy that's possessed with good audio, because that's what makes a good podcast.
I agree. If this is not good audio, I will excuse myself.
No, you can stay. You can stay under protest. How about that?
Okay, as long as it's marginally adequate audio.
It's not even.
No.
but you can stay under protest. You know what? I'm
ordering a new headset tomorrow.
Yeah, you go ahead and do that. You want me to send you a link to the one that I'm sending out to people now?
No, I bought one based on unless it's a new one, based on your initial recommendation. I purchased one that was a dud. Then you sent me one, which doesn't seem to want to work with my computer. So I'm going to go, I think, 3 times the charm.
Okay. But you don't know what what it is. You don't know the link.
Well, if it's an affiliate link, I'll
it's a different. It's a different. Are you sure you and Kelly didn't get together before this?
Do I get a nickname?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But we can't use it on the air.
Yeah, we got a nickname for you. All right.
I've been banned.
No. Oh, that's cool. I see, Scott. You just put the locomotive on the ties without rail, just to give that's a cool shot.
It's impressive to hand lay that much track.
Yeah, and I had 3 turnouts on the layout that were equivalent to a number 12 or larger, and those were beasts. But I got them done, and they worked flawlessly. And that's the beauty of handling track, is you can tweak and tweak and tweak the geometry easily until you get your locomotive in your cars just to run through them silky smooth. So,
well, I have a question that's probably kind of a rude question, but you know what? Okay. I hate it when people comment on something that's already been completed, but this might help future layout builders. So I'm looking at the picture on page 79 of the bench work, and you've got the valance up, you've got the bench work, you got the plywood up, and shows where the river scene's been cut out. And I noticed that you're using 90-degree turns, like you've got a 90-degree outside turn on the bench work with the fascia. You got a 90-degree inside turn on the. Did you not? Like I always said that you wanted to curve the fascia to give it more of a flowing look. Is that in retrospect, would you have done that, or are you happy with the 90-degree turns in the front of the layout?
No, I was happy with the 90-degree turns only because I've got 2 feet to work with, and I completely understand what you're saying. I guess that's just what I was thinking, the ease of building it when I built it, but it worked out fine.
Okay, so let me lead that question into another question. Are you going to, in this particular series of articles, are you going to be brave enough to say, I did it this way, I wish I'd done it that way?
Oh, sure. I think I've already got things written where I tell the reader, I wish I would have done it. I did it this way, I wish I would have done it differently. Like, for example, since I hand laid the track, and of course I put down all the ties, and then once they were glued down, I sanded them level, and then I used a razor saw to scrape them to put texture into the wood so it looked like a real tie. Well, then I went and took a dental pick and I textured almost probably 95% of the ties to make them look more beat up, like a branch line tie. Never do that again. That was a disaster. Well, it wasn't a disaster. It took forever. And I I figured, hey, I only have 40 linear feet. I'll go ahead and do this. Well, after you do about 5,000 of these things and you got another 5,000 staring you in the face, you go, what in the heck am I doing? But I did it.
So are you one of these people that kind of overbuilds everything and thinks everything to death?
Yes, I have to beat back perfectionism with a stick because it can lead to some bad things. So
would you say to model? Do you prescribe to the Ellen McClellan good enough effect, or are you strictly it's got to be museum quality and come hell or high water?
Well, no, I want it to be museum quality, but I'm recognizing as I progress in my modeling skills and adventure that I'm recognizing what people will recognize will focus on, and that's what I'll do the detailing on. But the other things I will model to a certain level, but not go to the detail that I would have done in the past, because it's just not like the tie texturing. I mean, it was a little bit too much. Without getting right down close to the ties and noticing the detail. It looks great in photos, but the average viewer coming into the layout room and looking at it, they're never going to notice it. So
are you going to cover, so you said it looks great in photos, so are you going to cover in one of the sections about you have to decide to the level that you're going to model? Because if if up close photos are important to you.
Yes. Yeah, I'll mention that throughout the series. In fact, in that issue, in the March issue on page 82, you can see there's a photo of where I show how I textured each individual tie with the dental pick, and it looks great. But again, I wouldn't do it again if I had to do it over again. I just would have used the razor saw and textured it and called it good.
Right?
Because it still looks fantastic, especially after I had stained them and let the stain dry. I came back. Well, then I ballasted, and then I came back with pan pastels to give each tie make them look gray and variations of gray, and it makes the overall track look fantastic. And you don't have to go further than that. So I wouldn't have textured them like I did.
So that's kind of an interesting way of doing it. Is putting the ties down, handling the track, but putting the ties down. Staining them and then ballasting the track.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of a cool idea. Yeah,
I followed Tony Custer's process from the 1989 Model Railroad issue. From 1989, one of the issues. I think it was the December issue. And Tony laid out how he did it on the Allegheny Midland, and I just followed his techniques and worked great.
Okay, that's cool. All right, I got one more question for you. I had a bunch. See, it's been an hour and 42 minutes. How do you think it's gone?
Fantastic.
Okay. So, will you be on again without giving me a hard time?
Oh, sure.
All right. Bernard, you heard that.
I heard that. I wasn't going to ask you how you thought it went on my end.
Okay.
Well, aside from the fact that you can't seem to have a headset without busting it into 1,000 pieces, it seems to have gone pretty good.
Excellent. I have a question for Scott, which I hope I didn't miss. Am I allowed to ask a question?
Not now that you're on the MacBook Pro. We don't know.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Are you going to get into operations? And are you going to talk about in your articles how you plan to operate the layout?
Yes, that'll be toward the end, obviously, when the layout's closer to completion. But yeah, absolutely. And what I was talking, maybe you missed it. What I was talking about with earlier was I'm going to be incorporating a writing conductor, an actual conductor, like the gamers use, little figurines.
Excellent.
I'm going to be using a actual little conductor that has.
How much time do you spend working on the layout each day?
Well, it comes in spurts, so I'll work on average maybe, I don't know, a couple hours a day.
Okay. Your headset works fine. That's the original one you used that like dozens and dozens of times. I'm sure you've been on other internet things where you've used that headset.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's the radiation from the Toronto surrounding area that's causing issues up there.
Yeah.
Of course,
the altitude.
Yes.
Yeah. Or the operator. Maybe if you'd spent a little less time making gigantic little Lionels and a little more time paying attention to your business, you wouldn't be having these problems and you wouldn't be rushing around.
It's the resin.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's the resin. You probably got everything covered.
It's clogging everything.
All right, I got one last question. Then we got to go because the network only allows us so much time. So you made a. I got two. I got a lead in, and then I got a question. So Chris Palmieri, you made a logo for his business.
Yes.
Did you put him up to bothering me about that?
No, and I just heard that today. I listened to that today, and I heard what you said about me. You made it sound like I had this artistic temperament where I was not going to negotiate with your A, and not exactly true. I was willing to make that uppercase A lowercase, but
right. But the rest of them you had to stick to the uppercase.
I can't remember about the rest of them.
Okay, well, let me put it to you this way. If you make it a lowercase a, uppercase M, and an uppercase L, and the rest of the letters lowercase, we will take that design and make it into a T-shirt.
Okay. Yeah, I'd be happy to do that.
Okay. Yeah. But you made a... Yeah, and when I was talking to Chris, when we were talking to Chris, he kept insisting that I had to have you make a logo for my podcast, our podcast, the AML podcast, and I'm thinking, I've got two logos. Like I think basically he was telling me my logos are no good because he kept insisting I needed you to make one, and I'm thinking I got two. One I designed all by myself, and I'm quite happy with it. And he's like, you got to get Scott. And I'm thinking, what's wrong with the ones I got? But that's not the point. You made one for Josh Bowman.
Yes, I did. Josh reached out to me, which was neat because it was through the AML Nation, and he needed one for his ag repair company, and I was happy to help him. And Josh was a great guy, and
Josh, he's a fine young man.
Yes, and he's got plenty of work to do with his ag repair business, which is wonderful, and I wish him the best. I'm sure he's going to keep building that business of his.
Oh, Josh is a hard-working, fine young man, and I'm very proud of him. Josh's Ag Repair. I'm going to look it up on Facebook right now as we speak.
The farm life is a good life.
Well, and he's a hard-working...
Farm living is the life for me.
Land spreading out so far
and wide.
Keep Manhattan.
Give me that countryside.
Oh my goodness! Wow, you guys should take that on the road. You guys.
Green Acres is the place to be. Farm living is the life for me. Land spreading out so far and wide. Keep Manhattan, just give me that countryside.
Bunch of singing fools.
That's right.
We're fools now.
Yeah, now we're fools. Yeah,
singing fools. That's a phrase of affection. So
it's Josh's Ag Repair for. So I'm hoping you're spreading the word around Ames, Iowa. That for you're in farmland there. If anybody needs some repairs done to their farm equipment, Josh is the guy to call.
Yeah. Be a long ride on the tractor up to.
Well, yeah, they could throw it on They could throw it on a flatbed. They could, truck it out there.
Sure,
no problem. So Josh's Ag Repair is 905-797-2898. Call Josh today. Operators are standing by, and I had a great idea. Whenever I send out T-shirts, I almost always throw in some. I almost always throw in some AML stickers and decals and things, decals, usually stickers. I had a great idea today. I'm going to make a Josh's Ag Repair sticker and throw those in too. That'll be a fun
Beautiful.
thing. That'll be a fun thing for people to get.
It would be.
It would be.
It is a pretty sharp logo.
It's a very good logo. Very good, Scott.
Well, thanks. And when I was talking to Josh, he gave me a video tour of his shop, and it's a nice little shop, and he had like 2 or 3 large tractors in there that he was working on. It's pretty darn cool. I like that.
This kid can fix anything. He's not a kid, but he can fix anything. All right, that's it. We've run out of time.
Well, it was enjoyable.
It sure was. I don't know whether, Bruce, if this is going to be an episode or just a show.
Oh.
We might have to do 2 endings for this one, too.
Do the double ending, pick your ending?
Yeah, pick your ending. Yeah, we'll do the double ending, and then I have the opportunity to put it wherever I want. Bruce, without looking, like without making it obvious, see if Bernard is still here.
I'm still here.
Was I talking to you?
He's hanging in there. He's hanging in there.
Yeah.
I started strong and I'm ending strong.
Yeah. Okay. Wait do you hear this? It's a good show. You literally chew through headsets faster than Kelly does.
It's a talent.
Yeah, it's a talent. Yeah, exactly.
It's a talent. 3D printing and headset repair. Maybe, hey, I wonder if Josh can get into headset repair with his ag business.
Yeah, I bet you that's
there
what
you
we
go.
get. Throw him to, he fixed my motorcycle stand, no problem.
Well, there you go. Okay. And I've just designed some tractors for him. So maybe I'll send him some headsets with them.
Yeah, send those headsets along. See if we can get them working. Actually, would you do that?
I will.
Box those up and send them to Josh because he can get them working and then he can use them.
If he can fix a tractor, he can fix a headset.
Absolutely.
I remember a video where you were in his barn.
Yeah.
When was that shot, Lionel? That wasn't that long ago, was it?
Yeah, that's when it was shot, not that long ago.
But I mean, was it last summer or?
Not with all that white stuff on the ground.
Yeah, there was one just where it was just a couple of months ago, and then one last summer, last fall, something like that.
It snows up here 24/7.
It does not.
It does so.
It does not.
There's 6 feet of snow in my backyard right now, and it's still coming down.
Oh, I just
and the polar bears should be right by your place now. I've seen them coming south.
Well, see, now that's the problem. I don't have electricity yet.
Yeah, well, there you go. Well, when you go out to the outhouse, make sure you got your lantern and a big stick. Because the polar bears may be there.
But you're coming through loud and clear.
Yeah, and Chris Atkins, the telephone code is the same in Canada as it is in the United States. All right, that's it. So, Bruce, can you give out our email address?
I'd love to give out our email address. Please contact us. Let us know what you think. We love to hear feedback, good, bad, otherwise. Send us an email at modlerslife, that's modlers with 1 L, modlerslife@gmail.com.
And we have a website, amodelerslife.com. If you go there, Scott, have you ever wanted a T-shirt with a hot dog on it?
I can't say that I have, but I might want one.
All right.
Yeah, Scott. The correct answer is yes.
Okay. Yes. I really want one.
There you go. Good answer. Good answer.
So if you decide you got to have a T-shirt with a hot dog on it, all you got to do is go to Midwest Model Railroad, and their URL is midwestmodelrr.com, and you go across the navigation bar and click on AML, and boom, you are in a wonderland of AML merchandise. Hats, hoodies, T-shirts, mugs, whatever you could possibly need. And in amongst all of those items is a T-shirt with a hot dog on it.
So when I spill mustard on it, it'll be completely appropriate and look.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
That's why you got to get. And there's also a T-shirt with a fighting sock on it.
That one would be a primo T-shirt to have.
That's a cool T-shirt. That is a cool T-shirt. Bernard, although you're annoying the living crap out of me tonight.
Oh, wait a minute. What else is on our website, Lionel?
All sorts of stuff. We have, okay. I'm a little.
As soon as you mentioned it, I figure you're a little out because Bernard, I know. But
yeah, chewing through headsets.
You skipped the part about our website and the Midwest Model Railroad. There's stuff in between that the fans will be dying to hear.
Bernard, did you just take that new one out of the box tonight?
No, I actually did use it, and it was working beautifully.
What did you use it for?
A conference call, an online conference call with someone, a Zoom call.
Oh, okay.
It worked perfectly for the Zoom call.
Okay, I was going to say, did you use it for another podcast?
No, God, no. I don't do other podcasts. podcasts.
Well,
Please.
You weren't cracking walnuts with it or anything?
He was throwing it on the concrete floor of his new studio in frustration.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly. We got to have that whole conversation yet. He's already got an employee. I bet you're jealous, eh, Scott?
Yes. I want to take on another family member like Bernard just did.
Yeah. And if you think you're making a lot of money through model railroading, Bernard's easily doubling or tripling or quadrupling what you're making. So he's probably pulling in, Lord knows how many hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars he's pulling in.
And he's not embarrassed to admit that he's bringing in those six figures.
No,
he's probably 7-figure.
Yeah, his kids are taking horse riding lessons. His wife's taking horse riding. He's probably got a stable full of horses. He's probably got race horses. This guy.
I know someone here who would like a horse.
Yeah, I'll bet you do. All right. So
I just want a working headset. I'm a simple man.
Yeah. Okay. If you go, okay. Anyways, I've had it, Bruce. I think
have you?
You've had it with this group enough.
Is there anything you want me to mention in particular, Bruce?
Well, we have a website, amodelerslife.com.
Right.
And if you go to the website and scroll down, you'll find a picture of me, the moderately agitated mailboy, in a particularly agitated state. You click on that, and boom, a form will pop up. You can send us an email without even having to remember what I said. God knows how long ago in this podcast.
That's true. And if you're listening to this on the free channel, for just 365, if you want twice as much podcasting every week, for just 365 easy payments of 16 cents a day, you can get a podcast on Monday and you can get a podcast on Tuesday. You can double your podcasting fun.
And who wouldn't want to?
Exactly. I think now. And so click on the Patreon link on the website there. Okay. So we're going to do 2 endings. Scott, can you handle that?
I'll try my best.
Okay. The first one, you have to say happy rails to you at the appropriate moment.
Yes.
Okay. Well, Scott, as we close the barn doors on another episode of A Modeler's Life and the sun slowly sets over the back 40, I guess there's nothing else left to do except for you to say,
happy rails to you.
While in Busted Knuckle, guests of A Modeler's Life podcast stay at the Casa del Sol Motor Court and Inn, where late-night dancing at the Rumba Room is a magical event to be experienced.
It's another Lincoln Homer.